funny story. I thought the flute was the clarinet, and like when I was a kid, I was like really obsessed with like snake charmers.
Hi, this is Lauren Angle. Today I'm here with Cautious Clay.
Hey.
So you were born in Cleveland?
Yeah, I was born in Cleveland, Ohio, Cleveland Heights actually, to be exact.
And your parents are from there as well?
Yeah, well, my mom was actually from Philadelphia, but my dad, she didn't really live there, so they split up when I was young.
Yeah.
You know?
What did she do when you were growing up?
She was actually like working for the government. She was like a lawyer for Cleveland's like municipal district. So she was like just kind of doing law.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and
definitely not music.
Yeah. Where do you think other music aside from that?
Yeah, I would say both of my parents, because like neither of them played instruments, but then like. Actually, probably my mom's side, because like my uncle, like her brother, is like a kind of a famous bass player in the jazz community. So like he's like kind of doing his own thing, and like he's always been kind of like the one musical person in my family. So yeah, that's probably my mom's side.
And since a young age, she pushed you to do a lot, like pole vaulting and sailing and all that.
Yeah, she was always like, oh yeah, do whatever, and like I was just like, cool. So she just was. I mean, the one thing she never wanted me to do was football, which was like, I don't know why, but like, because I'm obviously, but then pole vaulting isn't necessarily dangerous, so like, it's really funny. You're like, oh, okay, like, don't football, but pole vault, like jump over like 14-foot poles, like.
You were really competitive back then?
Yeah,
wow.
I was really like, I was like super into track and like kind of like being athletic and doing all that stuff. So that was part of like why I was interested in like getting my times better. And, you know. But like I was never to the point where I was like, you know, good enough to like do it in college really. I mean I was good enough to like get to state, but it was kind of hard to just keep going with it.
How did you get into pole vaulting though?
So I got into pole vaulting because I think they just started a team and they were just like looking for people, and I was just like kind of interested, and it was just one of these things where like they didn't have anyone else, and like there was one other person on the team who was like super enthusiastic about it, so I was like, cool, I'll try. But it wasn't really like, there wasn't really like a major like catalyst for me doing it. It was just kind of like a fun, different thing to do. Yeah.
Did your mom push you academically?
Yeah, I mean I've always been super like self-motivated in kind of a way, but like my mom was definitely kind of just like always looking for ways for me to like, you know, get ahead in what I was doing, or like just kind of like give me an outlet, you know, because I went to like 3 different schools for high school and middle school, so like I kind of like went in and out, but like I went to an all-boys Catholic school for high school, right, and then I went to like a Montessori middle school for middle school, just like the Jewish Montessori middle school, so I got like 2 different perspectives, and like it was really cool to just like be in that position. You know?
Why a Jewish school?
Honestly, well, it was like because it was Montessori. So like Montessori is like a style of teaching. So like it's kind of like open-ended, and like you kind of like learn by like physically like doing stuff as opposed to just like reading it in a book or like kind of something like that. So but yeah, it just happened to be a Jewish school, you know, which is kind of like, it was cool. Yeah, it was different. I definitely like know more about Judaism than like most people probably think. You know? So it's like.
What were your favorite subjects?
Oh man, probably. I would say, I mean, English was cool. I really liked English. It's funny though, because I hated reading, but I love words, so it's like kind of weird like that. But I definitely like English. Also, I would say anthropology was cool, but that wasn't even until college. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How would you describe yourself back then growing up, your personality?
Man, I was really shy. Yeah, I was really shy. I was really like, kind of like to myself. There weren't like a lot of people then who I still talk to really. Like there's some friends from like middle school, but it was kind of like, yeah, I was just kind of like doing stuff kind of like on my own, you know? But it was kind of like, I always had, yeah, I was always kind of just trying to get inspired by different stuff, so, yeah. It was cool.
Why did you decide to choose flute as your first instrument?
Well, actually, it's a funny story. I thought the flute was the clarinet, and like when I was a kid, I was like really obsessed with like snake charmers, and I was like, oh shit, like I want to be a snake charmer, because I watched Aladdin, and I was like really into that, and then I was like, Mom, can I have a flute? Because I thought it was a flute, but it was actually like, it might not even been a clarinet, it was probably like an oboe, and yeah, and she's like, okay, sure, I'll get you one, and then she ended up getting it, and then I was like, oh my gosh, like, I was so devastated, like, I thought it was gonna be, I was like, I thought it was gonna be something else, and it wasn't, and she's like, well, too bad, because I got it, so, and then I started playing flute, and then I had to learn, and like, that was a whole nother process. Yeah.
And then,
funny.
yeah, you were in some bands.
Yeah, I was in like I was in this band called Into the Crowd, which was like this like it was like a acoustic / pop punk band or some shit. And then like I was also in like the jazz band, like playing flute. So it was like, I would say that's the one cool thing about Cleveland. Like there was just a bunch of like weird shit I was involved in. So it was like definitely like an outlet.
Yeah. So from early on, you kind of already listened to and like knew about all the different types of music and like performed it.
Yeah. It was definitely like a learning process, and I was like able to just get exposed to a lot of different stuff. So it was cool.
Why did you decide to go to George Washington University?
So I went there because, well, they offered me the most money, which is dope. Yeah, nice. But also it was like I wanted to get out of Cleveland, and I also wanted to like do something related to international affairs, like kind of like, I don't know. I didn't. Those were like probably the three reasons. Like I was just kind of like into learning about different cultures and like people's perspectives.
That kind of came from your mom, right? Because she's in that field.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she was in like. Yeah, she was like very literary, legal, kind of like, and she traveled. Like my mom was actually born in Germany. Oh wow. So she's like been a lot of different places and seen different things, and so I think like she always kind of just inspired me to just be my own person and see things differently. So
originally, did you see yourself being in that field too?
I thought so. Yeah. I mean, I loved music a lot, but I was never sure how I would make it a reality. You know. So I was like always inspired by like, oh yeah, maybe I'll do foreign service or like, I don't know, but I didn't really know what that meant at the time, you know, and like a lot of those people are just like not who I am, so like I just don't even have the drive to do it that much, you know. So
what was your degree?
International affairs.
Oh,
like,
okay.
With a concentration in I think it was urban development. Yeah.
Oh. So. And then during the same time, you were starting to go on SoundCloud and do like Ableton.
Yeah. So I was making like beats on SoundCloud and like different communities and just like posting remixes, like making beats, like all types of stuff. So yeah, it's like I did like, I think my first song was I did a remix of "Lay Me Down" by what's his name? Fucking Sam Smith.
Oh, yeah. Sam Smith, yeah.
So that was like back in 2011.
What did it sound like?
Oh, it was so weird. It was kind of like housey, I would say. Like housey, kind of like.
So you're more of like an electronic producer.
Yeah, I was like Cautious Clay was an electronic producer project. So then I was just like, nah. And now it's, I think it's just like been like a journey through all of that. And like, I guess it wasn't like I was really singing that much back then. So it was just like, yeah, it's a different thing.
Did people in college know you as the musician? Like, we're already doing shows? Like,
yeah,
DJing?
like definitely like somewhat, because like there weren't like a lot of people who were super into music. I mean, there was like a small community, but like I was always the guy who people would be like, oh yeah, we need a saxophone player, you know, and like that was me. You know? So it was interesting.
Where was your career at by the point that you graduated?
It was like I was still doing remixes at the time, so it was really just like kind of like I didn't really have a real career at that point. I was working in real estate, kind of like selling apartments.
Like while you're still in college?
No, this is right after.
Oh, right after, okay.
Yeah, so like when I was in college, it was more like I was still just doing remixes and posting beat ideas and stuff. But yeah, before all of that, it was kind of just like it was like a process of I was just like creating things without really knowing, not necessarily having a purpose, just exploring. And then I'd say like the last 2 years is where I kind of was honing in on what I wanted to do artistically, like, you know, to where I'm at.
Yeah. Did you like doing real estate?
No, not really. I mean, it was cool to talk to people, and like I liked certain parts of like what I did, but I'm also super unorganized and like not built for the 9 to 5. So like I think it was difficult because of like my personality, you know. But like I was decent at it. Like I was good at sales and like doing all that, but I wasn't really good at like following directions by like, you know, oh, you got to do this by this point, you know. So I was never really built for that kind of thing. But like the side of it where it was like I had to talk to people or I had to like sell something, it was cool. Yeah.
How did you get your music out there initially? Like, was it blogs posting it, or how did you promote it?
Yeah, I would just like find blogs and send it to people, like myself. Like I would like just post it out, or I would just like ask to remix like bigger artists. That was kind of like where, you know, I would do, like I did a Zach Abel remix early on. He's like this UK artist. And then obviously I did a Billie Eilish remix as well. And yeah, I would just always like hit up different artists that I liked and just like try to remix their stuff.
Oh.
So that was like my initial entry point into like, into creating. Because I thought like remixes were, like, because I kind of started as a jazz guy, so like remixes are almost like your own interpretation of a song. And like in the jazz community, like people are always doing songs, you know, their own versions of songs. So that kind of felt appropriate, you know.
And then how did you find your first team or people initially?
So it was actually through Billie Eilish remix I did. I did a Billie Eilish remix, and that was like a situation where like me and her brother kind of like started chatting, and then I did a remix of her song, and then her career kind of started to like take off, and I met my current manager through like their relationship with Billie. So it was kind of like a thing where we just like connected off of that, because he just liked my name. So it's like super random. And then you know, I started making more music and like figuring out my own artist project, and so like it's kind of like been like that was like one of the last remixes that I did. So after that, I was kind of inspired to just like make my own music. You know?
And people kind of didn't know that you were a singer, right?
Yeah, nobody knew I was a singer
But
at that point.
But were you like growing up singing like in the shower, or like how were you even like?
I always did that. Yeah, I also
So only you and your mom knew.
Yeah, me and my mom, like we were like very silly people, and my mom was actually going to do acting.
Oh wow.
And she was like really into like a lot of, you know, voice ideas and stuff. So like I was always, me and my mom would always like joke, like we do different like accents and stuff like that, you know, and like we would just like do shit, you know, and like so I think I get a lot of that like inspiration for singing and like coming up with like different ideas from just my mom and us, like singing or whatever, or like for myself, or you know, so.
And then when you were producing for other people, you went to Korea, right?
Yeah, that was amazing. That was like a super. I was still working in a day job like at that point, but this small label called Beats and Natives hit me up actually on email, which is wild. It's like it was like just super random, and like they just were just like, you should come to Korea and work with some of our artists. So long story short, I ended up going over there and working with E-Sens and this group called Glencheck for like a week. So it was like really interesting. Yeah, it was like crazy. And I didn't even have music out at that point, so it was just like a really trippy experience just to like be there. Like that was like for me like the first sign that I was like, okay, like maybe I could do this music thing, you know, because it was just like, yeah, like we obviously like didn't even know each other, but like we ended up like working, like, you know, so it was just cool. It was cool. It was very cool experience.
What was the turning point that you decided to quit your job?
That actually was the turning point, because like at that point I was in Korea, and you know, I was like kind of working remotely at my current job at that point. So like I brought my like laptop and like actually closed the sale in Korea.
Oh, that's
like,
cool.
All right, like I'm out, you know. Because like because like it was just like for me at that point, like I knew like kind of like some of the ideas I was creating, and like had saved up a little bit of money to like kind of figure things out. So I ended up quitting my job about a week after I came back from Korea to try to like figure things out, and then like from there it was kind of like I worked part-time at like this restaurant called Gladys, and then I quit that in December. So yeah.
Oh wow! And then you moved to New York?
No, so I'd been in New York at that point.
Oh, okay.
So I moved I'd moved from DC like I want to say 3 years ago, and then like I'd been in New York like working like in advertising for like a year.
Oh, okay.
So and then I quit that, worked at Gladys, which is like a Caribbean restaurant, and then now like for the past like 6 months, it's kind of been music. So.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
What's the inspiration behind Joshua Tree?
Yeah, so that actually, the name is like, my name is Josh, and then like tree is like almost like obviously kind of like signifies life and just like growth. So yeah, the inspiration was really just kind of like my own perspectives on relationships that sometimes like that you just need time for yourself and just like figuring out yourself and your own personal growth. So that was really it. That was like kind of the inspiration. So
how about for Blood Type?
Blood Type, like the song or the full project?
The full.
Yes, the full project kind of felt like my my identity. So like Blood Type is like almost like, you know, A or B or O negative or something like that, like almost being another signifier of your identity. And like, yeah, all of the songs being different elements of my identity. And it was that kind of title and that kind of perspective just felt right for my first project. So.
Was it difficult transitioning and becoming an artist project and like a face of a project?
Yeah, it's still kind of difficult because like I'm not a very like outspoken person. Like I'll like when I'm on stage, like I kind of just like shift my mentality, but like in general, I'm just very like I just do my thing, you know. Like I've never really been like super crazy about just like my image as much as maybe other people. Like I know it's there, I know I have to have it, but like I've always just been more about making things that I like and like, so to get such a positive response so quickly, it's just kind of been cool because it just means like, you know, I can just be myself. So
How did you meet Zane Lowe?
So Zane Lowe, I met him, I was invited to a Grammy party, during the Grammys, and it was Khalid's Grammy party, and he was just there, and someone introduced me to him, and he was like, yo, I'm a fan.
Yeah,
he
knew your stuff.
That was like, wow, that was crazy, you know? Just because, obviously, it's just like, you know, I'm like still growing as an artist, and to have someone like that just be like genuinely fucking with me is cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How did your collab with Petit Biscuit come about?
So Petit Biscuit had been working on a couple different things, and I guess his management just like had heard some of my like demos, and they sent me like an instrumental, and I basically kind of like did a top line to that instrumental and kind of like my own ideas to it. And then they just really liked it, and they weren't even going to use the beat at first, but then like they just liked what I did with it, so they like just wanted me on the song, and then they brought Bipolar Sunshine onto it to like kind of like work in some of his stuff. But long story short, like that point I hadn't even put out Cold War, so there wasn't really even like any music out, but they were just cool with it, and then I think and then from there it was just kind of like they brought Bipolar on, and he like kind of like worked on my part, and then like I added some additional stuff. So
yeah. But you've had a lot of labels approach you now, right? But you still want to be like unsigned. Yeah.
I've had quite a few. It's like kind of just like at this point, it'd just be more cooks in the kitchen, or like more people to tell me what I need to do. But I think it's just nice to like have my own thing going, and I think as an artist, I'm still just like growing on my own, and labels just want to get involved early, but don't necessarily want to do the work. So I think it's just better for me to keep things a little smaller right now, just me and my team.
Yeah.
You know?
So you see yourself like once you get to a certain size and know your branding, that you would start working with that.
Exactly. Yeah. Because like they just are very out of touch, I feel like, with how things really build. I think they're very impatient. So it's nothing. It's not like, you know, I understand they got a bottom line, but it's like, I don't think like if I'm not fiending for cash right now, so it's like it just doesn't really make sense to like have them involved so early.
Yeah. How would you say you've grown as a person since when you started?
Oh man, I guess I just like realize how valuable creativity is like for people, and like how important it is to just like I don't know, to like how I feel like how important creativity is to like expressing like to like kind of changing conversation and being important in like culture as well, because I think like we take it for granted. I feel like a lot of artists take that for granted because we're just like making stuff. We don't really like think about it. But yeah, I think like me as an artist, and like me like in the music industry, like I'm just like a lot more present-minded of it, and like I think I'm also a lot more comfortable with who I am as like as an artist and a personality, you know.
Yeah.
So.
What would you say have been your biggest challenges so far?
I would say probably time management. Yeah, time management is really difficult because I'm like writing, I'm also producing, I'm also like doing shows and like coming up with videos, directing videos. So that's like, it's hard sometimes just to be like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm also doing this like all at once. So yeah, I would say time management.
What does love mean to you?
Love means, I would say it's important to, man, I feel like love is different for everyone because it's just like, it's something to, it's not really something you can like compartmentalize or like kind of like identify, you know, because I feel like it is different for everyone. So I think for me, it just means you really like kind of have an unconditional relationship with whatever that is, you know, or that person or that object. I don't know. Yeah.
For your music videos, what kind of inspirations do you have for them?
A lot of inspirations have been kind of like related to there's a hummingbird. Yeah, my videos have really kind of been like related to kind of like our current relationship with like commodities, and then also just like somewhat related to like relationships, and like kind of visually stimulating a lot of those concepts, like whether it's like golden handcuffs or like even just like craft singles, like cheese, like I don't know, I think about like a lot of different objects and like things that kind of like can represent our relationship with wealth, or like what is wealth or love. So I have fun with it, you know. Like I'm thinking I'm still stewing. So
yeah. Outside of music, what would you say are your like inspirations, like artists, like or like?
I mean, I love visual art a lot. I would say like also like fonts are really cool. I love like different fonts, and like that's why it's been really exciting to just like work with my friend on a lot of my own designs and fashion and stuff. But yeah, I really have it's weird because I love fashion, but I also don't know any people's like brands or like any of that, you know. But I love like my own personal style and like whatever. So yeah, I would say fashion, different like building designs are really cool. Like at one point I wanted to be an architect, like when I was like really young.
Oh wow.
So yeah, like visual stuff for sure.
Any specific people?
Like architects?
Oh, like any artist?
Artists, yeah.
Or anyone you look up to, like could be politicians or anything that influences like the art you make.
Yeah. Shit, I kind of want to check.
It's hard to think on the spot.
It's hard to think on the spot.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I could just skip it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I'm sure a lot of people say it, but Virgil Abloh is really cool. And definitely, who else? Artists. Yeah, I really like. I really like this one, Cherry Los Angeles is really cool. I like some of their designs.
Okay.
It's like a kind of an Instagram thing, but yeah, I don't really know any like specific artists. Like I just kind of like style.
Last question: what do you want to be remembered for?
Probably my like pushing the envelope of like different like moments in music. Like I want to be remembered. I want to be a moment in like culturally in music, I think, because like of like what I create.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much.
No problem. Yeah.
Bye guys.
See you.